Welcome to Uno Mas, where we hear the stories, inspirations, and strategies of those whose creative home is YouTube. Today, we talk to ImCade, an indie game Let's Player who is a full-time content creator and currently has 530,000 subscribers. We will talk about his journey to where he's at, as well as some strategies that he's found and used to get there, all while playing Uno and talking about quite a bit more on this episode of Uno Mas. But yeah, so starting off with I guess I'll go into my first question because it's a very serious hypothetical.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you had like an udder on your belly, like could dispense any liquid indefinitely, like it never runs out, what four liquids are you choosing?
Oh, man. This is a tough one. There's a lot of thought I need to put into this. Yeah, it's like, do I want to drink my own udder juice? Or
that's kind of a weird hurdle I kind of have to get over when I'm thinking this.
Yeah.
Because it's like, my go-to is like, my favorite drink or something like that. But then it's like, yeah, but like it came out of me.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to. Did you say I get four? I get four to dispense or just one?
Yeah, no, four. Because I'm factoring. I'm not gonna. Never mind. Yeah, four.
Yeah. I get you. I'm thinking I got to go like party trick almost. So I got to go like whatever some expensive alcohol is.
Okay.
Because then that's already, I'm profiting off my udders.
That's fair. Yeah.
Need like a wild card. Oh, Cherry Coke Zero. That's what it would be. I like Cherry Coke a lot.
Yeah, it is pretty good.
A little grenadine. I don't know if you're a Shirley Temple drinker, which is just Sprite and grenadine, but
I think delicious. I have tried that before. It's pretty good. Yeah.
But then the fourth one, what do I... Add gummy worm G Fuel, maybe. Might be.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. What'd you say?
Can I get sued on that? Could G Fuel put a cease and desist on my udder?
I don't know. That'd be an interesting ordeal. Because, like, how? No. This question has always been like. I feel like it's a funny go-to because it's just like instant awkwardness, kind of in some ways.
Yeah.
I feel like I would probably do a similar thing with trying to profit off of it. And I'd probably not even go something you can drink. I mean, I guess if you're brave enough, you could. But I'm going with gasoline.
Ooh.
Because then, that's not cheap. But then again, I wonder how much I could produce. Like, never mind. Probably go with like a caramel latte from Starbucks. I don't even know what the other two would be. Anyway, though, never mind about goofy, weird, udder things. Let's move to a nutter topic. What do you like to do for hobbies?
Well, the reason I got into YouTube was just that I did nothing but play on my computer all day.
Okay.
And so, I played a ton of non-YouTube games on my computer, like Destiny 2, a little bit of that. Got into Valorant. Really, every shooter that's come out in the last 3 years, I've played at some point in time.
Okay.
But I picked up tennis recently. Went to a class. It's really fun. Watch a little anime here and there.
Okay.
I say here and there. That's what I was doing before this as I was eating. What else do I do with my life aside from Wither? Just games. It's just every card, board, video.
Oh.
I love a game.
Do you have a go-to board game? Or type of board game, I should say, if it's not like a specific one, And
I almost said chess, but I don't play chess that often.
Oh, okay.
I think when I really play the most is probably Monopoly.
Okay.
Play that with my brothers a lot.
Yeah, that's a good one. Have has that lived up to its reputation of a lot of familial disputes and fights?
Oh yeah, it's a lot of whoever pulls ahead gets ganged up on, and then we all hate each other for a little bit after it's over. It's a great time. It's why we do it every holiday event.
Yeah. No, I mean,
set the mood.
Exactly. Perfect mood to be set on holidays, because that's like, I mean, that's like the prime time for getting in arguments with family members. So
Oh yeah.
Monopoly fits right in. No, we used to when I was in college, we'd have like board game nights, but not like ordinary like Monopoly and stuff. There's all sorts of like more crazy ones. Like we were really big into the social deduction ones, like Werewolf.
Oh yep.
And Donner Dinner Party, one of my favorites. But yeah, huge fan of board games.
There's one called Murder at the House on the Hill, I think. Something along those lines.
Is it Betrayal at the House on the Hill?
Yes, that's it. My girlfriend really likes that game, and I mean, I'm proud to say out of the 6 times I've played it, I've never lost. But
nice.
It's super fun. I think that's one of the more like fleshed out and replayable board games that I might have ever played. Yeah,
those ones are like the amount of depth like you can go into it with like the different, I don't know, like how they play out. I always am a fan of too. That one I bought a while back, and it was like, I feel like early, like when I had just like first started playing board games and stuff. So I like looked into it. I'm like, man, this is too complicated, and I sold it.
Yeah.
And now like I'm playing ones that the average play time are like 2 or 3 hours. And I'm like, man, I wish I had that one. So I might go back to it. But I've been playing. I just bought the Dark Souls board game.
Oh,
and that one
didn't know that existed.
Yeah, I didn't either. And then I went out to Ohio to visit one of my friends, and he had it, and he's like trying to sell it to me, basically, like not physically like buy it from me, but like, dude, we should totally play this because this and this and this, and he was like, plus it'll be fine because the average play time is 60 to 90 minutes, and so it won't be too in depth, but like we'll have fun playing it.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. He explained it for about an hour and a half and tried to teach me, and then we played it for probably 6. And I was like, yeah, looking at this instance of playing it, I'm not interested. But looking like when I go down to like looking at the actual game and like the gameplay, I'm like, no, this has potential. I want it.
Oh yeah.
But no, that was just because like the majority of it was him like spending like we'd play maybe 10 minutes of the game, and then he would consult the rule book for another 15. And so it was pretty painful, but no, they're those type of games are pretty fun.
So I have to give that one a look up, especially just because I love the Souls games in general. So
yeah, I've been wanting to get back into them. That's what we had started out playing on my channel, just doing that as a let's play, getting mad and screaming at the TV,
Of course.
And then I didn't ever really get back into them, but playing this and like looking up the lore of it and everything too, I'm like a little more interested. But
my coffee is here. If you can give me one moment.
Yep, go for it.
I returned hydrated.
Nice. What drink did you get from there? Like, what's your go-to? Maybe this isn't your go-to, but like,
let's say it usually is. Today it's just a sweet cream cold brew.
Okay. I have a feeling there's something else my wife adds to it, but that's like pretty well her go-to. It's a cold brew with sweet cream in it.
Got a little sugar-free vanilla. Trying to shed those pounds,
With doing games on YouTube, it sounds like one of your hobbies, like as you said, is still video games. Have they lost their appeal at all?
it's less of like they've lost their appeal where it's like, oh, I don't want to play. But it's more of I consume so much from like 2-man dev teams to AAA studios.
Sure.
That I've unfortunately gotten the ability to tell when a game is good and when a game is bad. And not like not the obvious good and bad, but like, oh, they didn't work on this as much as they should have. Oh, this is an uninspired version of this, yada, yada.
Gotcha.
So that's
kind of made it a little more hard to pick out a good game, you think? Or like has kind of made you more critical of games so that kind of hinders some ability to enjoy it? Or
yeah, just definitely getting more overall critical of things. Like Elden Ring, that's hot take. That's not really that good of a game. That's especially after like what they've done previously. Ooh, it is not good.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard both sides of it. Obviously some people are like super in love with it, but yeah, I've heard on a couple of occasions, like one of my buddies that I've had on here actually did a video on it, basically saying it was pretty underwhelming for him, but I have not gotten around to playing that one yet. I had, when it first come out, I was going to live stream it because I thought it'd be fun, and started the stream, got to the main menu of it, clicked start, and it like crashed and wouldn't work. And then I ended up spending too much time trying to fix it, and then ended the stream, didn't get it to work, uninstalled it, planned on reinstalling it, never did, and just haven't played it.
It's just that game in particular, and I think just most games really overall, it's good if you haven't played something like it. You know, and that's kind of where the me always playing something comes in.
Sure.
Because like Elden Ring won Game of the Year for a reason, is because a lot of people have not played a Souls-like because they're hard and confusing. That's like their whole shtick.
Yeah.
But it became a lot more accessible, and then everyone was like, "Wow, this kind of really rocks." But at the core of what it's supposed to be, and like with how they did their bosses and how they did their leveling, it's fun, but it's not good. Which is contradictory. I don't worry, I know. It's a tough spot. I love Souls games a lot.
Yeah. So given all the ones that you've played, what would you say is your favorite game?
Out of the Souls series or games?
Of any game. I mean, if you want to limit it to that, you can. But I was just wondering, like overall.
If we're going like, I know for a fact I had the most fun in this game. Borderlands 2. I mean, I haven't played it in a while, and I would not have as much fun if I went to play it again. But I think I probably put well over like 400 hours in that game, beat it with every character you could beat it with, beat it in their true Vault Hunter mode, which is just New Game Plus. But if it was one that I could like hop into right now and have a blast with, honestly, probably Rocket League.
Okay.
I like whimsical sports games, stuff that like, I was going to say doesn't have that high of a skill gap, but Rocket League is a stupidly high skill gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's an unreleased game that I had the privilege of playing, and I like talked with the devs and stuff, was able to play with them, and it's called High Point. And it's like handball, you could describe it as. You play as a little robot, and you can like brawl each other on this like field. It's 3v3. You can pass the ball around. You try and dunk it into a goal. It's like everything that like whimsical sports blast. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to that game's release because I think that'll be
that sounds like it could be fun. High Point. When's that set to release, or do they know yet?
It's two people working on it, and they both have full-time jobs, so it's always we're working on it. We don't know when, but
Gotcha.
we promise we are making progress.
I feel like, yeah, it's kind of hard to qualify like a favorite game, like when looking at it overall, because it's like you do have to factor in like, well, what if I were to be playing it right now versus the stage of life I was in when I played it? Because like, I feel like mine would probably be Skyrim, but like, I don't feel like now I could be as immersed in it as I was when I had zero responsibility in high school, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So like, yeah, that's kind of hard to factor in some of that. Do you generally consume a decent amount of YouTube on the viewer side instead of creator side?
I did before I started. That's something you don't really get told whenever you start making YouTube content, is that you usually stop watching it at that point. It becomes less of two, like, you know, there's still people like I watch for enjoyment, like Smitty. Yeah, I think I've been watching him since he had like 100K. He was doing his like CSGO whatever's back then, because that was before I started. But I really like those, and I mean now I think he's huge. He's millions on millions.
Oh yeah.
But his humor's always been really funny, so I watch him. But kind of the same thing with sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying I agree. I really like him as well.
Yeah.
He's one that I watched a lot of.
Like I was about to say, with kind of similar to video games, where it's just, you know, you play so much, you start to pick out flaws that someone might just overlook. I mean, same thing now. Like I'll go to watch a video and I'm like, what's going on with this person's pacing? Why is this editing like this?
Yeah, like, get a little more critical on how you would have done it versus how you're seeing them do it. Yeah. So Chomper. You used to watch a good amount versus now, but like, what would you say your, I guess, inspirations or motivations in starting to create content was, whether it be a certain channel or just overall this desire to create something and finding, what would you say?
Well, it's like half noble and half greed. The greed obviously being, wow, YouTubers make money.
Yeah.
And then the noble part was like, I was just watching YouTube, you know, like New Year's Eve, chilling alone in my house, just doing all this. Or like, you know, be your Saturday night. And I'd hop on little Snap stories freshman year of high school. It's like, oh, everyone's out there having fun. And then I look over and I'm playing my single player Minecraft world. But I always felt like, you know, watching YouTubers back then, it was just kind of a nice, like, not like, oh, I have a friend in them, but it was just like a comforting, like, it's all right to play my game, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have to go out. I can just do this, play with my fellas, be good. And so I kind of wanted to like give that same sense of like, oh yeah, this is fine. But then on the other hand, I was like, also, if I could do this as a job and not have to, you know, seal mail envelopes for a living.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I get that. Yeah. Kind of wanted to create that sort of comfort type of like you're welcomed here kind of atmosphere of a video.
Yeah, that's definitely how I started, because I started in streaming too over YouTube. I was a streamer for like 3 years, I think, before I did a YouTube video. Granted, I was a Fortnite streamer like everyone else, but I was really good at Fortnite, so it was all right. And then once I started doing YouTube, I shifted less away from like, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of like comfort streamers now. Like you have your Stardew, your Minecraft, like
yeah,
all that. I didn't want to be that at that point. I think I just realized I wanted to be entertaining over comforting. And so then that's where, I mean, now I usually kill at least one something in every video I do now.
Yeah. Yeah, I have more questions on that part, like with like I guess crafting entertaining content.
Yeah.
That'll be later on. I did
No,
write
that's fine.
those down.
If I
but
rush
like-
ahead on these answers, that's on me.
What'd you say?
I said if I end up rushing ahead with answers here, that's on me.
No,
feel free to ask it again. I'll
You're fine.
open book.
I feel like I'm not great with like transitioning questions very well. So like that would probably have been a really good opportunity to just jump in and ask that question. But like I'm dumb. So like
Yeah,
I guess no, but like looking at it from like a timeline perspective of like, because we're talking about how you got started, and it's like there are things in here that I could probably just, like I said, questions later on I could include here, but I want to look like back. What was like your first setup like? Because like I think it's always funny to kind of see. There's not always like this drastic like contrast between what there was then and what there is now.
Oh yeah.
But like for example, I had bought. Well, actually, it first started with like Xbox's game capture and some crappy USB Rock Band mic that I had laying around.
Yep.
That were just like, yeah, we'll do this. And eventually some cheap kind of capture card. But like, I think it was my first guest that I started this with. He was like, yeah, I aimed my iPad at the TV. And I'm like, oh God. Like, but what did you start with?
So I wasn't blessed enough to have an iPad, but I had my whatever one of the like first iPhones was, and I had it because my brother cracked the screen and got a new one, so I got his like little hand me down.
Sure.
But I stacked 2 unused tissue boxes on top of each other, and then I put a ruler like in front and like another one behind, and kind of like rubber banded them to stabilize it.
Yeah,
and
so
I aimed it at
up.
my monitor. And I had the perfect height to where I would just record my monitor and then my voice, because I didn't have I had no headset or mic at the time. So that was my setup, is I would start recording on that, and then I would go on YouTube's app and just upload it.
Like raw, no editing?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I didn't know what I was doing. I was playing, it was Minecraft Super Smash Brothers is what I was playing.
I'm a little confused. Wait, explain.
So it was the game Super Smash Brothers, but someone had made a Minecraft server. For it, and that's big. I would do that, and I would do Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, I remember the Hunger Games one in Minecraft. Or are you saying that was another theme of Smash?
No, yeah, that was being Minecraft too. I was all Minecraft back then.
Yeah, I remember that one being pretty popular and hopping into some of those and really liking them. Just playing them. I didn't record it or anything. But yeah, it's so with that. How many videos would you say that you, and maybe it's on a different channel or something, like it's not on yours, but how many do you think you just deleted and like unlisted? Probably not unlisted, probably fully deleted, but before getting to the first video you had, which on your channel now is that Slime Rancher video.
Yeah, that was a channel I buried in the sands of time a long time ago, for good measure.
Yeah.
And I think I probably did like, I don't know, maybe like 30 to 40 on that. I was in a time crunch because I do it after school before my grandpa got home. But, and then I did, starting ImCade, it would have been about like 40. I did Fortnite videos because I was a Fortnite streamer, but I probably had like 40 Fortnite videos maybe of just like playing with my buddy who was a larger Fortnite YouTuber at the time, and then playing with him and like Bayesian Canadian. I was like, oh, that's cool. Did their like reboot vans whenever those weren't in Fortnite. That was like a big reveal. I got a glitch where they showed up for me.
Yeah.
So I was an opportunist. I stayed in that game and I flew around and I was like, oh, there's one here. That was my best video I did in Fortnite actually. But yeah, stuff like 30 kill games, yada yada, your usual dime a dozen now.
Yeah. So before switching into doing, well, I guess actually asking about the switch into what you're doing now, like what led you to switch into doing kind of the indie games and stuff that you're doing now versus continuing Fortnite? Just burnout or?
Well, kind of. It was a mix of, you could call it luck, call it blessed, whatever you want to call it. But there's a guy by the name of That Denver Guy.
Okay.
Fortnite YouTuber, popular at the time. He might have been the like top Fortnite tips and tricks guy, if we're being honest. But I had a buddy who was living with me, and he was like, when I say we were good at Fortnite, I mean like we're top 1% in like US according to some stats metrics. So I was good. I was real good, and he was better. And so he was just streaming, killed That Denver Guy. Tips and tricks YouTuber for this.
Right.
Joins my roommate's chat and is like, hey man, you're like insane. Do you want to help out like with stuff on the channel? And so my roommate, whose name is Carter was like, yeah, I would love to. My roommate Cade does YouTube and he's also like good. And so we end up helping Denver out with like one of his videos that I know at the time it got like 1.4 million in like 3 weeks. Wow. Like views on it. But so I just kind of started talking to Denver more and more because I was trying to do YouTube stuff. And then, he gave me some connections, started talking, gave me some advice, and was pretty much just kind of like leading me through it. And he gave me the best YouTube advice I've ever gotten. Probably. But he was just like, think about what you want to do for your channel,
Yeah.
And so for me, I wanted to be a games player. I didn't want to be like a tips and tricks dude.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, think about what you want to do. Find 3 to 5 people you like, who do something similar. Steal. Take. Whatever they do, if you can do it, do it. Try and figure out how they do it, reverse engineer it, whatever you got to do. And so I did. And I started Slime Rancher because it was I picked 3 here, and it was a fellow by the name of Blitz, who actually, he appears on my channel now. Mm-hmm. Crazy that glow up happened.
Yeah.
A fellow by the name of DF, who I will still get called a copy of to this day. And a guy by the name of Gray Still Plays, who all of us copy in some way or another. But I picked those 3 guys, found what worked, and then landed on Slime Rancher. But I only landed on Slime Rancher because I was terrified of making a video. I put my foot down. I was like, I want to be a YouTuber today. Got all the stuff set up, and then I didn't do it for a month after that. Because I was like, yeah, I don't know what to do. I'm stupid. I suck. I hate this. I'll just go fold boxes. And then one day I was like, yeah, if I'm going to do this, I got to hurry it up. And so I made my Slime Rancher video, and it's bad. It was a bad video. I would have taken it down if it weren't my first. But then, yeah, I did Slime Rancher. I don't think they're up anymore, but I did Stardew. for a little bit in there. Risk of Rain I did because I love that game. But that's kind of how I started, was just trying to figure out how these three guys who I was like, I want to do what they're doing, got their stuff done.
It's interesting. I didn't think so. Not just complimenting you. I watched the first video to try to see like contrast between then and now,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, obviously there's a ton of contrast, like
Yeah.
just the,
Yeah.
the editing and even just the overall, I feel like kind of, I don't know the right word, but like how you go about, like maybe energy, maybe is the right video,
Mm-hmm.
like that you put, I don't know, or the right term for the video. I didn't think the first one was terrible, but with that, how did you kind of approach the whole like narrating what's going on? Because like a while back I tried it and I'm like, I'm gonna do a let's play, because like overall that's what I want my channel to end up being, is I mean, I'd say similar enough to what you're doing, but that kind of like entertainment, that kind of personality, that like just does this and that, plays whatever, not necessarily whatever game I want, but I'm not confined to one game or one thing. And I started it, I'm like, nope. So how I guess what would your approach to that be, and like how have you grown in that area?
When I started out, obviously I, luckily had the steel concept in mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of watched, because I was a fan of Dangerously Funny DF for like a year, I think, before I started, which is why I picked him to try and figure out how he did it, because I was like, he does it right. This is good. But so the way I would like approached it was I watched, one of his videos, and I was like, all right, how does he go about this? How does he talk? How does he respond on stuff? And he kind of, similar to me, just a lot more fluidly, just did it like, quick retort on something in the game. Doesn't stay very long on like, he's not silently moving item B over to location A for 3 seconds, like all this. He's cutting out the dry stuff that you as like a viewer understand happened. Like you don't need to witness it to understand, hey, this is over here now. You can just, you see it visually in like a frame after, cut after, all that. So a lot of it is just, it's been called trimming the fat, essentially.
Yeah.
Because that was the old style of like YouTube. If you watched like PewDiePie play Amnesia back in the day, I don't think there's a single cut in the video. He just turned whatever software on for 18 minutes.
Right.
Just spoke his mind and then turned it off and said, upload. And so I think a lot of the like YouTube boom, or like entertainment boom, is people who saw that and was like, that's what YouTube is now. But it's not. It's not that anymore.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
definitely changed from that.
Yeah, and so it was just identifying, those changes. And I mean, like I said, I don't think that Slime Rancher video is good, but that's because I am where I am now. Back then, I thought it was fine.
Yeah,
I was like, this isn't half bad.
Yeah, and I guess part of it's also looking at it. I don't know about comparatively, but it's like on its own. Like for me, looking back on it and like scrolling back to see it, it's like, thinking that it's probably, it's pretty good, but then like, yeah, like especially when you're thinking of like, I guess where you are now, it's like there is a lot of difference, and obviously where you are now, I would say is better, but like,
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. That probably didn't make much sense, but anyway, just never mind.
I get you. Yeah, and so it's then I think the big thing is like I mentioned PewDiePie doing his Amnesia stuff, but it's back then. You kind of needed it. You kind of needed an idea of where you were going with it, but you can't do like game A part 3 in parentheses, no way this happened in parentheses. Like that doesn't work. You need an idea. And so that's what I started my Slime Rancher thing with, was shoving a bunch of slimes into one corral. It's a silly little idea, but I mean, it's mundane. It's nothing special. It's packaged in a fun little way that might make you think, oh yeah, I want to see what that looks like. And it's just that idea, or like that approach, repeated, compounded, refined, repeated, compounded, refined.
Yeah.
And I, sorry,
go ahead. Nope.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I wasn't really nice to like myself back then either. So I'd record and then I'd send it to my buddy who is his name's Roadie Bros, Fortnite YouTuber.
Okay.
But I'd be like, hey man, what do you think about this? And he would give me a little paragraph of things that he was like, I think this could be better, this could be better. And then I'd send it to my buddy Trey, who was a big Game Grumps, Markiplier, different side of YouTube that I didn't watch. And I'd be like, hey, what can I do better? And he'd be like, do this, do this, do this. And then I would go through and I'd be like, where can I improve? Do this, do this, do this. And so it was just dissection
Constantly
of myself over
refining.
and over. Yep. And I mean, I'm not going to say it boosted my confidence or anything, because it sucked pretty bad to be like, yeah, this wasn't funny or entertaining. But it's what I needed to do. I needed to get better at it. So that was just practice, practice, practice.
Yeah. Looking at that kind of idea, like, because you said you have an idea of, like, for example, with that first video, it's like, I want to throw a bunch of slimes into the corral. Like, that's the premise, but then, the video is you going throughout doing that and whatever happens along the way kind of thing.
Yep.
But that premise, like, that's pretty well you do that across, your videos. It's like that kind of thing. Like, I did this, kind of the title, but the how do you, I guess, come up with all those kind of premises for ideas? Like, what does that kind of process look like? Because, like, I've racked my brain trying to come up with, like, different things for videos. And I mean, I've got a list of them, but, like, I feel like it's not entirely easy. So, like, where do you, I don't know, maybe I'm just finding a hard time with it, but
No, I mean, I was there with you. And it's, it is a little crude what I'm about to say, but it is just steal, steal, and steal.
oh yeah.
Like a lot of my like titles, like I think my video today, for example, is I upgraded to become a bleed wizard in Grounded. It's just showcasing some type of armor, all this, all that, like stacks, how it is. It's nothing really crazy in general, but I've had success whenever I did, like, I upgraded this thing to be better. It does well, or I evolved this thing to be better. And it's like, okay, so upgrading, evolving, that stuff works. So you'll see, I mean, a lot of my titles have the word upgrade or evolve or something like that, because it hit and I saw it and I noticed. So I stick that to a sticky note on my brain. I'm like, use that whenever I can. And then it's looking at, my associates, competitors, whatever you want to call other YouTubers, and seeing how did they title their thing. And it's like, I made balloons 5,000 times more dangerous. And then that video has 90,000 more views than one of their other ones. So then you keep a little reminder and you're like, okay, that title did well. And then you see that YouTuber, I made carrot cake 5,000 times more delicious. That video does 70,000 views more than their usual. And then you get to think, is there something with that title then that worked out well? And so then you get to try, I made, I don't know, kickball 4,000 times more fun. And then that does 10,000 times or 10,000 views better for you. Then you're like, oh, okay, I see it now.
Okay.
And so it's YouTube is a lot like you're all on a group project, but no one knows it.
That's a good way of putting it. That makes a lot of sense because you kind of look at other creators that you're kind of that are in your realm of what you're wanting to be and what you're wanting to accomplish, and kind of like doing some research on there, kind of not necessarily looking over their shoulder like at their test in class kind of thing, but at the same time, taking inspiration from it.
Yeah, that's
seeing what's working for them.
It's crude, but like stealing is obviously a pretty big understatement of like, maybe understatement's not the right word because I'm not actually, stealing, but same with like, Coke makes Coke Zero. And then what would Pepsi do? They would make Pepsi Zero.
Yeah.
Because you got to keep up. You got to see. And it's that repeated for however many YouTubers you want to look at.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And it does kind of feel like wrong to be like, oh man, I saw them do this and it works. Like, I don't want to take it. But I think every YouTuber that like I started out where I took one of their like ideas, or I took how they did a title or thumbnail.
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten, larger in the sphere, has taken something from me, and then vice versa. It just,
yeah.
I don't think there's any one of us who thinks twice, as long as it's not a 1-to-1. Like, you don't do, I made the best rocket, here's this thumbnail, and then someone goes, I made the best rocket, smiley face, and then the thumbnail is like yours.
Yeah.
Then there's an issue. Not
a direct copy, but inspiration. You took inspiration from it, made it your own versus copy and paste. With those videos, like, you have your idea that you want to accomplish. With narrating it, like, I'm still trying to, like, I'm trying to think of how I would do it, and I feel like I'm not able to. Obviously, it's something you need to grow in, and you would eventually be okay at. Like, it's not like you're going to start it being able to do it okay.
Yeah.
But what's your, I guess, approach to that? And like, how much of it is like, I don't know if any of it's like post-recording, like, oh, I could have added this here, and then you do. But like, how does that whole process look during recording? Like, I don't know.
No, I get you. It's whenever I first started, obviously I was like editing my own videos. It was all me because I'm not paying an editor whenever I had no money back then.
Sure.
So I would do what you said, where like sometimes I'd watch the video back and I'd be like, it'd be funnier to do this. It'd be better to do this. And so, like, I think one of the first things that kind of did well for me was Among Us, where I was playing with, everyone's favorite YouTubers, I think. Where I was, I maybe had like 2,000 subscribers at the time. And I would get starstruck pretty bad. And so I'd be playing with people who had like, oh, here's 2 million, here's 4 million, here's yada yada, here's this, here's that. So I wouldn't really talk much, and this is kind of, I'm exposing my past self here. But what I would do is in those videos, I would cut out like where my voice was, because we all had to mute during the meeting phase, right? That's how Among Us.
Right.
But I'd cut out my voice, and a lot of my Among Us videos, every single word I say is recorded in post. Every joke I make, every deduction I deduce, it's all in post, because the video would be more entertaining if I said it when I said it.
Yeah, like the timing wasn't necessarily there during the recording, and it just makes more sense.
Yep. So like
from the production standpoint,
it would be like a 22-minute, like recording game of Among Us or whatever. And I'd have like Blitz making an accusation, and then there would be like 4 seconds before something else, like to move the video storyline across. Like, DF is the imposter, but you got a bunch of jibber jabber in the middle that doesn't make sense. So I would cut everyone's voice out of that. And then I would say something, hinting towards the end of the game, foreshadowing or making a joke or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have Blitz come back in like it was all a normal thing. This is what happens when you look behind the curtain. The magic dies. But
well, no, that definitely is the approach that you see quite a bit. Like, I feel like there's been, I can't think of who it was, but like there's been several podcasts of content creators that I'm like listening to, and they'll like say exactly that. It's like during the recording, it's like, this didn't really make much sense, but when looking at the video itself, it emphasizes it and it would make it funnier if this happened here. So why not? And so I feel like it is pretty, it feels like insincere and kind of like, well, I don't know the right word, but like it makes sense.
Yeah, that's it was Blitz who taught me like that lesson. And it was in the Among Us phase. You can kind of watch my content take a change after that. But it was because we were playing like modded Among Us, and I was straight laced, always playing it right. And there was he did a video where it was the sheriff mod where you could shoot the imposter, but if you were wrong, you died. Mm-hmm. And he had every bit of knowledge he needed to guess the right person, and it was so long ago I don't remember who. But he chose to stay silent, and then kind of ran off and hid. And so I think like I end up dying to the imposter, and then Blitz comes out of nowhere and bang, shoots him, and then the video ends. And he gets a great video title out of it, gets a great storyline, gets a great premise. And I was like, man, what a lucky dog, this guy. But then I was editing it, and I could hear when he got it. Like I could just hear his click of like, oh, it's this person. Mm-hmm. And then noticed he stayed silent, and I went, why would he do that? And then I watched his video and I went, that's why. And so that was kind of like my understanding of like, all right, here's a storyline that will work, get to it somehow. And so that's kind of similar concept now to where like, we use again my Grounded video today. I became the bleed wizard in Grounded. Mm-hmm. Someone just Instagram DM'd me what I would need to do to like make this. And I was like, okay, I'd like to give that a try. And so my storyline in my head is I have minimum of 10 minutes of content I need to fill. And in that time, I need to get 3 armor pieces and 2 staves, along with a mutation. That is the requirements for this. I have most of them already, but I still need 10 minutes, so what can I do? And so that's where you get in my video today, where I go and I find the materials I need to upgrade an armor piece a little bit. Does it matter if the armor piece is upgraded? No. I'm still going to get the same effect, but I get a little bonus one when you make things sleek, Right. And so that's what upgrading can do. And so I think that's like maybe the first 3.5, 4 minutes of the video is me going on that journey. And that's all stuff that you really don't need to get to the end, but it helps the storyline of like, I have nothing, I'm building into something, so we can all see the end result of what it can do. And so I get that. I get the armor. Well, now I need the mutation. What is the mutation you need? And how do you level it up? So it's, I need with a wizard, I need this mutation, and I level it up by killing things with the staves. So I go and I just go on a big murdering spree with all these staves, and I, have fun killing everything. And that's a little segment of the video. Is it necessary? Yes. Does it need to be 2 minutes? No. It could be, I got to go kill things. Cut to me killing the final thing I need. All right, I got it. Yay. But that's not fun.
No,
it's not fun, and it's short.
Kind of build to it a bit.
Yeah. So you hype it up. You see, all right, here's what the staff can do at its current stage. I don't have the armor on. I'm not using the build. But here's the power of this. And it's like, oh, wow, these things are pretty broken, and it can get even more so. That's right. Stay tuned, because I'm getting there. And so you keep Jenga building blocking yourself up until finally, I have the perk I need. I have my mutation. I've got the gear I need. I've got it upgraded. It could still be better, yes, but that doesn't matter. I'm here at my idea now. Now I just need to execute it. So I go kill something with a stupid amount of health to display how strong this is. There's my idea. This is the grounded ultimate bleed wizard. And now I can end my video.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the approach. And I mean, again, that all started with someone on Instagram was like, hey, there's this build that does this. And I was like, cool, I can be done with this in 4 minutes. But you just got to think, how can I keep it entertaining to where something's going on? And it's a lot of micro accomplishments, if you can think about it, leading up to the one big one.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I get my armor, I see I'm missing something. New accomplishment needed. I need to get it up here to a better level. Get it up there. Accomplishment needed. What do I need now? I'm missing something else. Well, I need to get my stats up, get their thing done, new little accomplishment gotten, rinse and repeat. And so that's kind of the video approach I take now. And then, I mean, I'll be honest. Also, sometimes I really do just hit OBS, start recording, and play for an hour and a half and hope for the best.
I'm actually glad you said that just then, because one of the things that I struggle with is I think my favorite type of content is those funny moments, kind of like Smitty and channels like that. Mm-hmm. And I've made some videos like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, these are kind of fun as random moments, but I struggle with how to craft some sort of story out of that.
Yep.
And that's something that I want to do more of, because I do like the idea of that being where my channel is. I want to be that kind of channel. But so when you do record, especially multiplayer, it's there's not always a direction. It's just kind of whatever happens. So how would you go about trying to craft a story from a recording that had no real direction?
So on those, I mean, let's use golf it as example, mini golf, Mm-hmm. There's borderline no story there. You're just playing mini golf, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of that, more like those mini stories. So your buddy you're playing with, rather than having it be all 18 holes is an end goal, more of kind of hole to hole. So you're laughing, you're having a blast, and then say, buddy A hits your golf ball. And so now for the next 18 seconds, your video is you guys crashing into each other and trying to who can screw who up more the most. Mm-hmm. And then eventually time runs out. Story over. That's done. You're now on to a new hole where it's someone goes oh, I think I can get a hole in one here. Bam, they shoot their golf ball, they miss. Now the story is who can get the hole in one first. So it's a compilation of those mini additions going, and then it can get into the all right, well now, we're at hole 17, you're at 58 strokes, second place is at 59 strokes. Who's going to take it? Who's going to win the whole thing?
Sure. So it's not so much, I guess I was thinking about it too broad. It's not really what's the overall end goal. It's mini stories built up within this little kind of thing sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And I think you ask a bunch of YouTubers that, you'll probably get a bunch of different answers, but that's kind of my thought on it, is if you're doing stuff funny moments like that, where it's your personality that's shining. Yeah. I mean, people watch and consume all different forms of media. I'm watching a basketball anime right now. I don't care about basketball one bit, but it's entertaining to watch these, two dudes better themselves or go against their rivals or whatever in these little mini plot lines as they go. and then it changes. You know, they're on to the next game. What's the next obstacle? They gotta go against a 6'3" exchange student who's really tall, and you know they're Japanese, obviously. So they're like 5'6", I think, canonically in the show. So that's a staggering height difference, and you're like, oh, how will we navigate this one? I wonder. And then 3 episodes go by, they win, and now it's they're going against a guy who can jump pretty tall, and he's blocking all the shots. How are we going to get past this guy? And so, you know, it's just those mini little challenges or mini little obstacles they got to overcome.
Sure.
That keep you watching. And then there's the one overall story, which is like, okay, they need to take the championship. You know, now we're facing the championship team. Like, where here, how's it get done? You know, I've watched all the way up to that point. I'm here. I need to see who wins or how they win it now. You know, it's just kind of draws you in from all angles.
That makes sense. I didn't really. Yeah. Huh. I had done that thing where I go and, you know, I was talking earlier how I'm like, some of these questions would work in here. So I did that. And then now I'm losing my place in what I haven't asked. So I kind of screwed myself.
I get it.
So I apologize for any parts where I'm just sitting here with like a
no, it's all good. I'm having a blast. I talk for a living, so
that's fair. And actually, like some of them in you answering one of the questions kind of answered others. So I'm also trying to keep track of that because I don't want to make you repeat yourself or anything.
Oh, I mean, like I said, it's fine if we end up circling back. I will talk about YouTube all day.
That's okay. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, because like I'm, I don't know, something I want this like podcast to be too is like kind of like this resource of obviously creator stories, but like also applicable kind of advice too through those stories. So it's like almost maybe like case studies of like how each creator kind of focuses and overcomes these things, how they've grown in these areas, you know, stuff like that.
Do you like chapter the videos at all?
I haven't yet because I haven't sat down and wanted to try to pinpoint the timestamps. I need to. It's an end goal that I would really like because I think that would be very beneficial. Because not only like if somebody has a question, they can find it easily, but I haven't sat down and done that yet.
So I think that'd be a pretty solid addition.
Yeah,
just question chapter and then 20-minute segment.
Yeah. What I have done is done some different like podcasts, like highlights and isolated certain conversations pertaining to certain issues, but I haven't chaptered the full episode. Need to, like I said, but haven't.
I get it. Believe me.
So I guess, looking at idea to, well, actually just overall looking when you were doing Fortnite for a little bit and then you decided to kind of pivot that content. How did you go about changing kind of like what you were doing to pivot it to what you're doing now? I don't think that it was, from what you're saying, it doesn't sound like it was like, in my case, going how-tos to trying to be entertaining. I feel like that's probably going to be difficult to try to do. But, you know, I mean, how did you handle that kind of change and pivot?
It was not smooth whatsoever. I wouldn't upload super often anyways, but I was just like, I can't be a Fortnite only channel for what I want. It's not going to work. The views aren't there, you know? And so I just stopped.
Just kind of cut your losses and moved on.
Yeah. But that's because I was, you know, a very tiny, like not even at a 200 subs yet channel. for like channels that are kind of already established, if you wanted to make that switch, I'd recommend just doing it like slowly, like over 2 months. You know, like if you uploaded like every other day, then have like 2 videos a week that just aren't tips and tricks. And then 2 weeks after you start that, have 3 videos a week that aren't tips and tricks.
Gotcha.
And then, you know, do that. And then eventually you maybe shift your tips to being shorts only. And then you're still keeping your entertaining, like personality wise, my style of like things, you know, videos as long form on your channel. And then you just eventually stop.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Like, don't stop the content that people are there already for, but slowly integrate what you're wanting to do so that eventually you can just kind of phase out that other stuff.
I don't know if you know who C-Top is or anything, but
I don't think so.
Good. I would say friend of the channel. You know, I like the guy. But he was a VR only YouTuber at the time. I met him and knew him. And all of his popular videos, VR. And he went, wow, I do not want to do VR stuff anymore, but my channel is already established. And so he just did, I think what I just said, shorts weren't out at the time, but just VR video, normal video. And the normal video obviously did not do as well. But, you know, kept doing it. And then over time, he's now reaching new viewership highs, and he has not done a VR video in a very, very, very long time. And so it's just always a process. And I think that's kind of what stops a lot of people from things, is just the sheer time.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad to hear that kind of as the approach, because I do feel like as I'm thinking of how I'm going to accomplish it, if I am, because who knows, maybe people will be like, this guy's stupid. But that's kind of been my thinking on it, is like, well, if I start to kind of move some of the videos I want to do without cutting out what I'm doing now.
Yep.
And slowly, okay. Something I kind of like to do with a lot of the, just in my head with the channels, I generally go back to like their first video, look at that, try to kind of get a feel for how the channel is as I scroll through the years that they've been uploading and whatnot. But something else I'll do is sort by most popular and take a look at that video. For you, it looks like it was, what was it? Using synthetic seeds to make the ultimate duck in duck life.
Yep.
It's got over 7 million views. What do you feel like made that video successful? Like, when I looked into it, I felt it was engaging and very, it was entertaining, but like, coming from your perspective, what do you feel made it do so well?
I think there's a couple things for that video specifically, because that's the one that actually jettisoned my channel. No one was really doing Flash games at the time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, now if you type in like the classics, like Learn to Fly, there's a million videos of it. Duck Life, it's been beaten to death, partially by me. So on and so forth. But at the time, it was like nobody. And so, I mean, I did it on a whim. Jeez, this is getting hot already.
Yeah.
I did it on a whim because I was looking at it and my buddy was like, yeah, you should do Duck Life, actually. That'd be funny. And I was like, oh, sure. So I, just kind of as a meme did it. And it didn't really do all that crazy when I put it out. The thumbnail design on it too was just, you know what? I'll get to that later. It'll make more sense later. But as far as one of the reasons why I think it did well is a guy by the name of Trippy Pepper, who was a larger channel at the time. did like a I hacked Duck Life video somewhere around the time that I put mine out, and that video did great. Like lots of eyes on that. And so YouTube obviously is like, a bunch of people are watching this. Where else? Who else has a video? How can we keep them watching?
Yeah.
And I had mine sitting right there in that little pocket. And so it just funnel everyone watching that hacked Duck Life video right into mine, and then throwing mine up. And then obviously I go on to do more Duck Life stuff and keep capitalizing on it. Sure. But I think that's one of the main reasons. The title is really nothing special, but I think it's fun. Like, it's just a fun little good neat title. Mm-hmm. But the second main thing, and this is, historians will argue over who did it first, but that like the noob pro god thumbnail style that exists in every mobile game of all time now.
Yeah.
Wasn't really plaguing.
Also, I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Wasn't really, plaguing YouTube all that much. Mm-hmm. But so just, again, on a whim, I was making the thumbnail in Discord with just some of my friends. And I had my little baby duck eating the seeds, and I went, what do I want to do for the right? How can I show that I made a crazy duck? And I went, I'll put a line, a little arrow, and I was like, now how do I get a crazy good duck? And so I took the Buff Doge meme that I know, and I just photoshopped a duck's face on it. And I was like, this is looking good. What should the background be? And I went, I'll just make it the Pokemon Who's That Pokemon thing as a joke. But I accidentally stumbled across penicillin, basically, because it was great. Like the left side of the thumbnail, blue seeds, green grass, blue sky. You'll see that. You'll see those colors in every thumbnail of all time now. Mm-hmm. And then I did the split style, which will soon, everyone will be doing the split style thumbnail not long after this. And then on the right, I had a contrasting red with the blue behind my yellow duck. And so I just accidentally color theoried my way into having a great thumbnail.
Yeah.
And so it was just the perfect storm after that. It was literally just like betting in the roulette wheel, and it worked.
Yeah, that's funny. It's cool with the timing too, some of it, because like you can do a ton and put a ton into the video and like, make a thumbnail and do all that you need to do, and it could just not do well for a couple months, and then something happens and it's like bringing attention to it. It's kind of crazy how some of it is that unpredictable kind of thing, but it's also, that is funny that you say that about the whole like thumbnail style, because like you see that a ton in mobile ads now, but like back then it's cool.
I was gonna say, and it's partially because I had a buddy, his name's Zumi Fiasco. He reached out to me and was like, hey man, saw your videos like doing great, like all this stuff, you should do that again. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, that thumbnail, do it again. And I was like, oh yeah, sure. Because like back then I was like, oh, lucky me, my video did well. No reason on why, because I didn't understand. But he told me that, and I went, well, I'll give it a go. Did the same thumbnail again, and it's another home run. And I was like, oh, I get it.
Cool. And it's kind of neat too with like, because I feel like the common theme here with some of the things you're saying, and also the same with my last guest, it's like you're seeking input from others and like kind of getting that input as you go. It's not like just you researching and trying to figure things out. You have kind of a group in some ways of people who are helping and telling you the kind of input and like feedback, and here's maybe tweak this, and I feel like that is a pretty important thing to have. I know that's not the primary source of like how things are doing well, but it's kind of a neat common theme to have that community of people.
Super lucky I met all the people I have.
So, speaking of thumbnails, what would you say your thumbnail kind of like now your strategy is in design? I don't know if you have outsourced that to like, somebody else does that part, um, or like how much, I guess, not necessarily that you do yourself. Obviously, I think you would probably prime, like, what am I trying to say? You would probably come up with like the concept for it
Mm-hmm.
if you're not doing it yourself. But like, how does that, I guess, process look and strategy?
So right now, yes, I have someone draw all my thumbnails. I don't do them anymore. I just send them a very bad paint sketch, and then I type out like what I'm trying to convey, and then they give me a sketch back that's much better than mine. And then I go, oh yeah, let's do this, make a change here, and then next day I get it, and then we'll work from there, which is pretty nice. There's obviously a few things, we try and remember. Like I said, I accidentally color theoried my way into a great video. I mean, now we try and intentionally color theory my way into a great video. So that's one change we have to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's definitely been a learning process. I mean, if you scroll down deep enough, you'll see where I start to make like changes and stuff, from getting drawn thumbnails to putting text on my thumbnails to how my split style goes to where shadows are.
Yeah.
It's all a culmination of trial and error and effort and watching what others do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess with your style of video, like when you're coming up with an idea and you make the video and stuff, I feel like the thumbnail probably comes pretty easily, as to like, here's an illustration of what I did,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I guess, how much sense that question made. But I guess kind of in a similar vein, I guess your overall like workflow, what does that tend to look like now that you've like at the current stage that it's at? Because like you said somebody else illustrates your thumbnails. You come up with a design of it, but
Oh
you
yeah.
hand it off to them to make it all nice looking.
It's gonna stay. Okay.
But from video idea to publish, like what does your workflow look like?
Turn back. So it's not stationary, solidified. I'm not.
Okay.
I don't follow the same thing every time, but I have a general guideline, because I need the idea, and then I need to record it. I need the thumbnail, and I need it edited.
Mm-hmm.
But so usually it goes, write the idea down, and then I will do like record it. If the idea shifts, I'll keep that in mind. Or like if I don't have an idea and I'm just pressing record, we'll go from there. But then from that, I'll record it, and then I'll ship it off to my editing team, and then I pretty much get to forget about it for a while. And by a while, I mean like 2 days. But after I ship it out, I'll just I have like a list in what order I'm going to upload things. And so if I'm like, if I've got my videos through Tuesday set and I've just recorded Wednesday's video, I might not be ready to order Wednesday's thumbnail yet, but I'll have it there. I'll get to it. And so whenever it's time for me to be like, all right, I need this to get it uploaded, I'll message my thumbnail artist and just be like, all right, thanks for the previous thumbnail. Here's the next one. And then we'll do our sketching process. And then, just piece everything together. And then sometimes it's, hey, editing team, I messed up. I need this back in like 10 hours. Help. And then, hey, thumbnail artist, I messed up. I need this back in like 10 hours. Please help. And then we rush it all together. But usually it's the first.
Yeah. How many people would you say are involved in that? Like you said, editing team. So, I mean, like,
Yeah.
I guess, because I know that it's kind of like as you grow to be to the point where it's full time, it's like obviously you don't have time to edit everything and to do all these. So there are other like you kind of do have to, hand off the responsibility of this and this and this to different places, but obviously that can look differently for different people.
Oh yeah, I've got so there's 5 other people who will like touch something on my channel. And I have like different editing teams, but it's not like because I have such a crazy workload or anything. It's just I have the first team that I had with editing, and then I have like an actual editing company that I do who gets a lot of my, like, they get the brunt of my work. But then my first editing team, I still get videos out to, which is like, that'll be more like my Roblox stuff and like my membership. They're kind of like specialized in editing that style. And so that's where I go with them. And then my just thumbnail artist is one person.
It's pretty cool.
So it'd be nice to one day have like the idea generator guy and then the business manager who just sends out, all my stuff.
Yeah.
To where I can just log on, hit record, put it in a Google Drive somewhere, and then I wake up and the video's there,
I just had a question. I trying to think what it was now. Oh, what's your like what do you aim for an upload schedule? Like how many are you generally doing per week?
7.
That was one thing I forgot to.
Yeah.
So you doing daily? Okay, cool. And do you just have the main channel? Like that is that you're just.
Yeah. I've only got ImCade. I at one point had ImCade 2, and I mean it's still up there. I think it has like unlisted streams on it. But it got to the point, 8.2K. Oh, maybe it doesn't. I used to stream on this channel. But it got to the point where doing that and trying to keep up was now starting to like hamper my main channel. And luckily I'm able to recognize that. And I went, all right, no more fun streaming things. We're done. I need to refocus up.
Sure.
So hopes to return to it one day, but for right now, I just need my main channel to be going well.
Throughout the week, how often would you say you're recording?
It just kind of varies because sometimes, I'm like, sometimes the ideas are there, the games are there, we're all golden, and then other days I have to spend 3 hours finding a game and idea, and then, or like I wake up and I'm just completely zombified, and so I don't want to record, which happened yesterday when I should have. But on a normal, like, average, probably about 5 days, I'll do a recording. And then sometimes, it's just maybe that one day it'll be like a 45-minute recording that I do. But then maybe one day it'll be like I record for 4 hours straight.
Gotcha. I just ask those ones because, like, it still baffles me a little bit just trying to, like, visualize what doing this kind of thing like full time is like, because like I'm doing this as a hobby and stuff, and it's like I work full-time job, come home, tend to if I want, like kind of if I have an idea, I'll put together something and edit it when I can. There's no schedule to it. But like my last guest, I was able to have Nogla on, and like he's like obviously full-time as well, and like hearing like his workflow, it was insane, like to even think of, because it's like he's recording 30 hours a week, got like 5 different channels, 13 uploads a week, and it's just like I can't even comprehend like that. So it's always like here talking to you, it's like you're doing it full-time as well, so I'm just like wondering.
Oh yeah, and I mean whenever I was there was at one point where it was me and an editor that I was working with, and that was it. And they would it was pretty much, I was going daily, so they would do one video and then I would do one video, editing it. And it was like I would have nights where I woke up, got myself ready for the day, started recording at noon, stopped recording at 8 p.m., and then ship off, hey, here's the 3 videos my editor needs, and then I'll edit one down. It comes about, it would have been about like 2 a.m., and then I'd be like, all right, that's enough for today, and then hop off.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, luckily now I'm in a much, much healthier thing. I'm not working 10 hours into the AMs.
At what point did you kind of decide that maybe you should give some of the editing work to somebody else?
Oh man, it would have been about, I think I was at like maybe 180,000 subs, somewhere around there. And I was just, no, I would have been lower. I would have been just over 100,000 because I used to upload every other day. But then I was just talking with some YouTuber buddies, and it started to become clear that if I wanted to, go to the next level of this, I needed to do daily, because that's this gaming YouTube. Because if I had a bad video, that's 1 day break, horrible video, 1 day break, that's now a 3-day period where I haven't gotten anything going.
Yeah.
And so then that's that much more pressure on that 4th day for my video to be good. And God forbid it was bad, because then I've got like a week of no uploads basically.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
So that was the call. And it was a little worrisome because A, I'm a control freak. But B, I was just, man, do I want to spend this money to maybe make the money?
Oh yeah.
That was my big worry.
Yeah.
But luckily, I mean, it worked out. Got everything going.
So I would imagine that like video editing and stuff, like handing that off, would probably, though not all of it, alleviate some of the potential for like burnout.
Drastically, yeah.
But prior to that, how would you say, like, how would you best deal with avoiding burnout and like stay motivated to make videos?
Trying to think, because I definitely would get burnt out. I think usually what I would do is, back then I was definitely is weird to interject, but I'm on ADHD medication now, so
Okay.
I can actually focus on stuff better. Back then I had no idea I had it, so I was just going through oil trying to get videos out basically.
Gotcha.
And so what I would do is I would get 3 coffees from my local coffee shop. And then I would record while drinking a coffee, and then keep it going until I was like, oh, I'm a little hungry. And then I would get up and I'd go like eat as much food as I wanted, it's weird, but in like 20 minutes I would just, and then I would go back and start drinking the other coffee and start recording again. And the coffees would have to have sugar in them, is the thing, because otherwise your brain will get groggy. But I would just do that, repeat that cycle, and I would record. That'd be like one of my like 12-hour days. Stockpile videos up. And then I would hop off for the night, get the best sleep of my life because I'm so mentally tired. And then all the next day, I would lay in bed and I would watch anime on my phone. And then the day after that, I would like get up and like I would chop a couple videos, not fully edit them. I would just chop them and have like a little light day. And then the day after that, I could actually go through it again because I got that little 2-day break where I didn't have to like think, what am I recording? How to be funny? I could just not talk. And it worked for me. I don't recommend it. It's a gamble, I feel like. But
You sure? I feel like that's like a go-to healthy practice.
Yeah, just caffeine dope yourself and then have to stay in bed for being mentally exhausted.
Yeah,
it works.
just power through it, burn yourself out, take a break, and then get back to it.
Yeah.
That sounds healthy. I see, though. That's interesting.
Because, I mean, back then, though, I was on every other day. So if I could get, like, 5 videos recorded, I could then take, like, a 10-day break after
That's
I
true.
got them all
yeah,
set.
you'd have a bit of a grace period in some ways, to where it's like power through right now, but then you're set for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is backtracking a tiny bit, but looking at like coming up with a video idea and all that stuff, is there any aspect to it where it's like, I guess, intentionality on marketing it correctly kind of thing? Or have you kind of reached the point where it's like, just try to be entertaining, you got a cool idea, carry it through and see how it'll probably do well? But like, I guess the question I wrote was, how would you market a video to perform well? But that's, I feel like, kind of vague.
Yeah, I definitely just like try and get a marketable idea before I start recording. So like during the little break we took, I had a video set that I wrote down like last week. And so I just knew that would be good, went, recorded it. And now it's, I focused on my little concept I was going for and called it. But that's a lot of like, if planning is there, sometimes, I'll be like, man, I need a video for Thursday and it's Monday. So I can't research everything super well because I got to get it to my editors and stuff. So I'll just be like, all right, what's someone done? Like, what game has someone done that does well? And then, have I yet to do the game? Can I give it a try? And then I'll look at like my analytics and I'll be like, what videos have I uploaded that are still getting views? And so I'd be like, Age of War is still getting like 110 views an hour, and I uploaded that 8 months ago. Maybe I should do another Age of War video. And then I'll go just crank one out, do that.
When there are those more like intentionally marketable video like ideas, what kind of things do you take a look at and factor in when coming up with ideas?
A lot of it is just kind of looking back on what has worked before. So like, I know we talked about like my upgrading, my evolving, all that stuff has worked before. So like, if there's a game where I can click a rock 40 times and then make it where I get 2 points when I click the rock, that's like, all right, there's my upgrade factor, I can do that. Or like, in specific games like Grounded, I've seen what works, like, oh, this is a fun little build, let me do a different build that I think would be good. All sorts of stuff like that. But it's a lot of just general, like, what has worked for others in the past that I think I could do. And so it's just do a little research, find what topics work, go from there.
Okay. So kind of look at different channels that are somewhat maybe similar to like the space that you're in and see what works for them and put your own take on it and use that as inspiration. Exactly,
yeah. Because it's all, like I said, I mean, it sounds crude to say like stealing, but I think Ludwig, Mr. Streamer Man, has like a thing. He calls it the yoink and twist, which is literally steal what they did and then put your own somewhat spin on it.
Yeah.
And so that's, kind of just the way of YouTube.
Taking a look at your channel, what would you say your greatest accomplishment is? Maybe it's a video you worked on or an opportunity that came from your channel. I mean, could be anything, but what would you say is and defined by you, your greatest accomplishment?
I think like on the channel video wise, honestly, probably just that Duck Life video. Because it really, I'm not exaggerating whenever I say that video is the reason I can do YouTube full time. So it's just, I mean, I'm proud of that one, was glad it worked out well. Mm-hmm. And just, I mean, it still slowly goes up in views. And it's a 7 million viewed video. I think that's also really sweet because there's not a lot that are that high on the platform.
Yeah.
Saying that I counted recently, and I think I have like 28 videos that are over 1 million views, which is just a nice little pat on the back, basically. Yeah. Even though, I mean, I've uploaded 600 plus, but...
Oh, still. Huh. Yeah, that video definitely seems to be kind of what... Like, it's not necessarily, like, different from what you had been doing, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's like it was consistent in that way so that when it took off, it was like, and people decided to check out your channel. It's like they're checking out the previous ones, and it's like, oh, yeah, I like this guy. You know, so it does seem to be kind of that launch point. And, yeah, it's pretty neat. Definitely say that is an accomplishment.
I was going to say there's it's kind of silly. I was a big fan of this volleyball anime named Haiku, something like that. And there was like a little quote from it that I liked a lot. And it was, and I don't remember it off the top of my head, but it was something along the lines of like, hard work, you know, doesn't always yield opportunity. But it was hard work doesn't always yield opportunities, but opportunities come to those who are prepared. And so that's what I tried to really keep in mind for the channel. So, I mean, like you said, that video wasn't any different than like the 20 I put up before it. But those 20 didn't, you know, yield even 1/100th of the results that one ended up giving me.
Yeah.
And so I think it was because I had my channel set in the direction that I wanted to take it, that whenever that one took off, I think I was really able to capitalize that arguably the best that I could have.
Yeah.
And then make a career out of it.
Yeah. I have another hypothetical for you, but not as weird as the other one. Let's say that for whatever reason your channel were to be terminated and you had to start over. How would you approach building a whole new channel, aiming it towards what you have now?
Is this hypothetical, like literally in 2 hours YouTube takes my channel away and I have to make a new one? Or like,
I mean, I would say that it's like right now as YouTube is, you know, with how I don't know if you want to say with the different trends, with the culture of it as it is now. If you were to have to start anew, yeah, I'd say now, like right away. What's your strategy in going for it?
I would make a tweet about it. And then linking my new one. But then I would also I'd remake my my Duck Life video. Not because, you know, I'm like expecting the same amount of views, but I would the title would be something along the lines of like, I remade my most popular video.
Well, I'm saying, so let's say that like the audience isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
So like, because yeah, if your channel now like were to be gone, it's like you do have a pretty strong subscriber base. It seems that like you were to, you know, tweet something or that, and there would be people that are like, oh, he's back, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean like no connection.
Okay. So
with what you've got now, just you have to start completely from scratch.
I would do what I mentioned earlier, where I would find the people who I wanted to like emulate, wanted their style. And then I would sort their channel by most popular on their videos. And I would find whatever their like number one most popular video is that they've done in the last year.
Yeah.
And then I would do my best to get as close to that idea as humanly possible. And I would do that probably, oh man, I don't know, for a little bit, while also, implementing my own, like, I take their video A that's done really good, I upload my own video B that has no correlation. I take YouTuber C's video that did really good and kind of upload my own little yoink and twist spin thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just do that to get a good concept of like feeling out what works, all that, but also just to try and use what I know has already been popular and what's hot to essentially jumpstart me. Because at first, the 0 to 100, if I'm remembering right on my channel, like for me, I think it took like, say, 6 months maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that's, like 6 months. Wow, you were working that for a while. And it's like, yeah, that's like 1/8 of my career on YouTube was going 0 to 100 in subs.
Yeah.
And so I would really just try and figure out the best way to get as many eyes on me as fast as humanly possible would be. And I think that would be, one of them is, wow, it's going to come back to hurt me, huh?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Is seeing what already works for channels that I'm trying to be like, and then put my own little twist. Same for thumbnails though now, too. I didn't think twice about thumbnails back then, and I should have. That was neglectful on my part.
Yeah. So pretty much, yeah, like you said, kind of look at the creators that you're looking like that you would like to oh, I'm clicking the wrong color. That you'd like to emulate, and then add your own twist to what they're doing.
Yeah, because
definitely pay attention to thumbnails.
Oh yeah, direct copying is very bad, but inspired little. Oh, that was a fun idea. I want to do it.
Yeah,
all right.
It's funny how that does sound like when you say it, and like the concept is like it feels kind of wrong, but like 100% no, that makes sense, and I feel like that is a good approach. It's like, because it's just simply, well, you made the comment earlier about Coke and Pepsi. It's like, well, you're looking at what your competitor's doing, and it's like, if they're doing something that's working for them better than what you're doing, it's like, well, adopt a bit of it, but don't just steal it.
Yeah.
It's like, make your own, make it your own. Yoink and twist it up a little bit.
So it might be a bit of a loose comparison, but it's kind of like if you think of YouTube a bit more like you would, like consider basketball when it first started. Mm-hmm. Like you had your set way of doing things that worked, and then someone had the idea, oh, what if I get really good at shooting behind the 3-point line? And everyone's like, that's stupid. And then they start scoring a whole bunch, and they're like, oh, wow, what a great idea. And now, everyone shoots behind the 3-point line. And then it's like, oh, what if Shaq exists? And he's like, wow, yeah, having a tall guy down below the basket really does just score more points. Then everyone's going to start putting that tall center under the basket. It's just, it's how things have kind of always worked. It's just when it's in the entertainment space, it's very easy to be like, wow, this guy's a copycat. That's pathetic.
Yeah.
Which you will get. I got plenty of that.
So here is like my final question that I wrote down, but I did put out a community post just like asking, not even mentioning like who I was interviewing, but just being like, hey, if you guys if any of you are content creators, what is some of your burning questions kind of thing that we could maybe bring up and get your input on?
Yeah, absolutely.
But my final question before that, is what does the future of your channel look like? Like, what are your goals with it? What are your plans, desires, etc.?
I think just this year, I want to break 1 million. I want to cross it. As far as like upload frequency or anything, I mean, I'll still just be one a day with my membership videos, trying to get out like every week and a half. But there's really no grandiose plan for me yet. All just like back end business stuff that you do not think about whenever you first try and become a YouTuber that I would like to get honed in. But eventually there would come a time where I would like to be what is essentially, there's a channel by the name of Socks for One. And I would love to be him. He's got 3 channels all doing their own thing and a React channel, and they all do great. They're all ran wonderfully. Like it really, I'd look up to him a lot. But just making as much enjoyable content as I can without it being, like overburdening on myself.
Yeah.
I think would be really fun, and I'd really like to see myself there one day.
The first kind of user submitted comment question was from a username that I'm just not going to attempt. But they wrote, and I feel like I feel like the answer can be assumed from what we've talked about. Yeah. But it was, in your opinion, could daily uploading hurt your views? And I feel like my own answer would be like, if you're not sacrificing quality for quantity and are keeping it consistent, kind of like maybe in topic, maybe in style, but like you're not just doing a wide variety of stuff and not putting any real effort into it,
Yeah.
Then no, I don't think it could hurt. But if you're going for quantity over quality and not really having much intentionality over it, I think that then it could hurt. But what would your answer be?
I mean, you say it great there. There's really no rule that, if you upload too much, YouTube's gonna smack you or anything. I mean, some channels upload every 4 hours, and that's crazy. But no, I don't think that would hurt at all. I mean, like you said, as long as the video is good, actually playing to the algorithm and stuff, be completely fine.
And then the user Chaos Animates had asked, how do you balance your personal life with YouTube?
Oh man, remember when I drank those 3 coffees? It's definitely that's more of a learning experience. I've left my parties with my friends early because I had to be up to record something or I needed to edit something. I've not gone out to a bar to stay back and work on stuff at YouTube. It's just really, it's like how much, I don't want to say how much you're willing to sacrifice, but somewhere along those lines of I was all right not going out to see them to work on this because it's something that I wanted to do and was passionate about. And I think as long as you just kind of keep that stepped back look and don't tunnel vision in, you'll be all right. Because I didn't miss family gatherings. I didn't miss my mom's birthday to try and
seen my family in 7 years.
Because I was very understanding of where I was. I was like, all right, I'm gonna put this out. It's gonna get 88 views, and that'll be it. So I don't want to miss, my high school prom because that event's gonna come, max 4 times in your life. so I can take a day. Just understanding stuff really is never like that serious.
Yeah.
It'll be all right. And especially like friend work balance. I mean, this is the bad part of it, but if you go and hang out with your friends for 3 hours when you could have been working for 3 hours, you can just lose 3 hours of sleep. Like there's always something somewhere you can get rid of. It's just usually it falls in the, oh, I'm not going to come out tonight, guys, range.
Yeah. So kind of keep a realistic approach to it.
Yeah.
Don't just tunnel vision in and be like, screw everything else. I'm doing this.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not going to be beneficial.
No, because then the downside is like if you do that, if you miss your mom's 60th birthday and then she's sad and then your video gets 10 views and then that's it, you're going to feel horrible because your video got 10 views and then you think about what you gave up to get that video.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, wow, this wasn't worth it. And you have a higher chance of not doing it ever again. So it's just being thoughtful of that.
Sure. I don't really want to cut any conversation short or anything, but like I said, I do have something to go to tonight, and that was actually the end of my questions.
Oh, okay.
So I figure we could probably wrap up this game and be done.
Yeah.
If you're good with that. Unless, do you have any closing, like comments or anything you wanted to bring up?
No, I think you covered them all well. Have you thought of any other question to ask over the course of all this that I can hit here for you real quick?
As we were talking, there was like some that popped into my head, and I asked them there where they kind of fit.
All right.
So I guess no. But I definitely enjoyed talking to you about all this. Once again, sorry for all the pauses and side steps in it, but
no bother.
Definitely enjoyed it, and I'll go ahead and send you the link once I get it all done if you're interested. But
yeah, absolutely. If you ever want to have me back on down the line, feel free. I really enjoy this type of thing, so
that's awesome. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Thanks for listening to this episode. If you have a content creator whose story you want to hear, please comment their channel name and I'll try to get them as a guest. If you are a content creator that would love to share your story, please fill out the linked request form in the description. Otherwise, we'll see you next time for another episode of Uno Mas.